Hey guys, Jonathan here again from GuitarTipsWeekly.com. Today we're going to talk about the difference between major and minor thirds. So a real quick little theory lesson for you. Thirds are one of the coolest things, by the way. This is where you really start to get into the fun parts of theory in my mind, because thirds are something that you can really apply to your playing, and you can use it to start creating new sounds on your guitar. So you have to excuse me, I'm losing my voice a little bit today. But okay, so what is a third? Let's take the chord of G, for instance, right? G major. We should all know G major by now. So let's look at the notes that are in there, okay? We've got a G right here on the 3rd fret, and the very next note is a B on the 2nd fret on the 5th string, right? Well, that B is our third in the chord, okay? So all major chords have a 1, 3, and a 5 note in them. And if you're familiar with the letter names out of the scale, I talked about this in my 145 course, then you'll know what I'm referring to there. So a major chord is built up of the 1, the 3, and the 5 out of the scale. Okay, and a minor scale is built of a 1, a flatted 3, and the 5. So the only difference between a major chord and a minor chord is one semitone difference, and that semitone is on the 3rd. So a minor chord has a flatted 3rd, and a major chord has just a normal 3rd. Okay, so how do we find the 3rd? Well, different ways of looking at it, I guess. I mean, you could look at it from the whole scale perspective, or you could say, well, a major 3rd is up 4 semitones from the root note. For instance, if you go from G and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, we get to our B again, right? So that gives us our major 3rd. So a minor 3rd would then be 3 semitones, right? So, or you could look at it from a pattern perspective. In this case here, my G is right here on the 3rd fret, 6th string, and my 3rd, the major 3rd, is 1 string up, so we're onto the 5th string now, and then 1 fret back. So let's see if that pattern works elsewhere. Sounds pretty good, right? That's what a 3rd sounds like. That's a major 3rd sound. So then a minor 3rd, if you're looking at it from a pattern kind of perspective, would be simply 1 semitone lower. And can you hear how that really changes the sound? Very different sound. And that single note difference is what gives us the big difference between major and minor chords. Because the other two notes are the same. The difference between, if we look at an E, for instance, that's an E major. Now, where's the 3rd in that chord? Well, this is our 1. The B is a 5 in this case. Then on the 4th string we have another E, so that's just an octave of the 1. And then finally here on the 3rd string we come across our 3rd, right? So what note is that? That's a G sharp. So there we've got our 1, 3, and 5 in that chord, and the other top two strings are just repeats of the same thing, right? So that's our E major. Now, what if we want to change it to E minor? Well, you're probably familiar with these chords. All you got to do is raise your index finger there, and you're changing the G sharp to a G. It's the only difference you're making, and now you've got an E minor. So that one note is the only thing that makes the difference, right? So, quick little theory lesson for you there. The difference between major and minor chords. It's good for everybody to know. You know, if you're beginning, it's awesome place to, awesome thing to kind of wrap your brain around. It's really useful. And even if you're intermediate or advanced, I mean, a lot of people I know don't really understand the difference of why that is. And so, I thought I'd just put a little video out for that, and hopefully that helps you. Take a look at how you can apply that then. We got, I'll do a video on this in more depth later on because it's a really cool topic, but if you're wanting to play around a bit, take those patterns then play around. See how you can use that, right? There. Key of G, so. Bass players can use this a lot too, by the way. All I'm doing is I'm taking the thirds. If you take your root note and then use the pattern, right? So I'm using my G, C, D. So there you go, something really simple. Don't worry, we'll get into more depth with the thirds later on, I promise. It's a really fun topic, so we'll see you again next time. It's Jonathan here from GuitarTipsWeekly.com.